Hello, vinyl community. Mike from Mike Guitar Player 07 here, coming at you live with another vinyl record video. And today, we're going to talk about records. What a concept. So, at the beginning of this month, January 2020, I went to Arizona, and I went on a vinyl record adventure. Got some records from some stores. If you follow my Retro Spin Vinyl Instagram page, you saw the front signs of those two record stores, but I have not shown what I got yet because I wanted to feature them on a video. That's not this video. That'll be the next one in regards to Arizona, because there will be two of them. Because on top of going to the record store, two of them, my uncle gave me some of his record collection. I only could carry so much onto a carry-on for an airplane, so I am apparently going to be getting two more piles of them, shipments, whether they bring it over the next time they're over here, I don't know. But I have about 60, 70 more records coming my way from them, on top of what I've already gotten. So I have in 3 piles at the moment. A pile that I've cleaned and have sleeves over, the ones I've listened to that are cleaned, and then the ones that aren't cleaned yet. So we'll go with the ones that I have listened to and cleaned first. So these are all in my uncle's collection, and he had a very big and good collection, just like my grandfather, but like father, like son. But when he moved to Arizona, some of them got warped, and some of them he gave to my cousin. Some of them he just left behind, I think. But either way, I'm happy to have what I have been offered and have graciously accepted. So these are the ones I've listened to so far. Blondie's Parallel Lines. This is one I've been wanting for a while. And just haven't. I used to own Auto American. And then I sold it for something. I now have it back because it's another one of my uncle's records. Spoiler alert. But really I only had some 7-inch Blondie vinyl records, with the exception of one that my mom had as a kid. She had the Best of Blondie. But now, I never even heard this album before until I spun it, and it's fantastic. Obviously, it has a hit one way or another. Sunday Girl and Heart of Glass. I'm not sure if Hanging on the Telephone was a hit or not, but that was fantastic too. There's not a bad song on this album, so. Blondie's Parallel Lines. The Clash's Combat Rock. We all know this album. Have it on CD and cassette, and now I have it on vinyl record. It's one I've been wanting, but I never pulled the trigger. David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. Diamond Dogs. This is not the gatefold copy. I think that only the first presses had that, so this is a second or later because it does not have the gatefold. But either way, the music's fantastic. I've recently started checking out David Bowie, in part because my uncle gave me some of his David Bowie records, and every so often I want to hear a song or two, but I'm starting to really get interested in this. So any Bowie album recommendations, give them to me. And then also Changes One Bowie, David Bowie's first greatest hits comp album. I've spun this 2 or 3 times already. And that's a lot for me in recent days because I don't get a lot of time to spin records, so I usually go with one I haven't heard in a while or a new one. So spinning this 3 times, it kind of says something. I really enjoyed this. I used to have a copy of this record, then I VCLT'd this, I believe, to Emma at 8 Vinyl Low. And I enjoyed this album, but I thought that she'd appreciate it more, so I decided to send it her way. And it just so happens that my uncle had a copy of it, so now I have another one. The band Hooters, Nervous Night. The entire A-side practically is hits. And We Dance, Day by Day, All You Zombies. And then, yeah. So I think those were the only hits off it, which is all but one song on the A-side. So that was a great one. And then the last one I've listened to so far is the Ruddles' self-titled album, The Ruddles. As you can tell, they're paying some homage to the Beatles here, and their sound is very much so like Beatles, and some of their song titles are mimicking Beatles tunes, and some of the lyrics and melody lines are, well, mimicking Beatles tunes. No wonder they got sued. But fun fact, they can't get sued for the album covers because this is considered a parody. So, since I'm a music business MBA student, if you're parodying and you're making fun of the artist, the original work, like these album covers, like Let It Rot, a clear indicator of that. You can't really, that's under fair use. It's fair use in parodying, but more parodying than fair use. But song material, I mean, George Harrison, My Sweet Lord, you can't copyright, you can't copy things. Oh, I forgot to mention, I went in Arizona with my uncle and all that. I saw my first in-person NBA game, so I saw the Phoenix Suns versus the Sacramento Kings. I've been wanting to go to an NBA game in person for a while, and it was a great time. They lost the game I saw, and then the rest of the week that I was there that we didn't go to see them, they won. Either way, I had a blast, and apparently I'm now a Phoenix Suns fan. So, these are the records I cleaned from my uncle's collection that I have not listened to yet. Some of them I know, some of them I don't. B-52's Wild Planet. I know the song Private Idaho. That's about it. Blackfoot Striker. I have their album Marauder. It's great. Don't know this one, but I've heard that this is even more popular than Marauder. So, looking forward to giving that a spin. The 80s hair metal. Eat to the Beat by Blondie. My friend said that this is a very good album. This is their favorite Blondie album. When I shared with them that I got some of these, because I know they enjoyed it, said it's a fantastic album. Don't know anything on it, even though Automatic does sound familiar, and Dreaming sounds familiar, so those might have been hits. But Eat to the Beat, don't know anything about it, never really saw it much, rather than flipping through bins. And I already said I have had this in my collection in the past. Auto-American by Blondie. This is my forever copy now. The track listing is not on the back of the record. But this has, I believe, The Tide is High. The Tide is High is on this. What else is on it? The Tide is High. There was another hit on here, I thought. Rapture. The Tide is High and Rapture are the hits off this album. This is a very good album. I like this album quite a bit. This is Dead or Alive's Youthquake. This has a song, You Spin Me Round Like a Record. Baby, like a record. Spin me round, round, or whatever the lyric is. So yeah, I'm very much so looking forward to giving that a spin. We got the supergroup The Firm. This is a promo copy. I have Mean Business and this album on cassette. Have Mean Business on vinyl. Now I have their first album. So that's fun. This is one that I've seen, have been wanting. Another supergroup, just haven't pulled the trigger to grab it. The Honey Drippers, Volume 1, which I believe is the only volume that ever has existed. So, don't know anything about it, but I've heard good things. I now have my second, well, at the time it was second. You saw in my previous video that I got John Lennon and Yoko Ono's wedding album, so now technically I have 3 of them now, but this is my, at the time, my second John Lennon and Yoko Ono, or just John Lennon period, Double Fantasy. I have this album on CD, have listened to it once, enjoyed it, but as I said, only listened to it once, so I don't really know it, but I still have the CD, so that says something, and I'm going to be having this too, and I'm looking forward to giving this another spin, or a spin. I guess another spin if you consider the CD spinning, because that is technically spinning. But anyway, this is one I've been wanting, but I don't want to spend $30 for it, which is what I usually see it for, so I've only Spotify'd this album. But the Kinks, what is it, Part 1, Lola versus the Power Man and the Money Ground? Yes. So, the Kinks. My first Kinks album, the only one I've ever heard. Not that I haven't had an interest in checking out other stuff, it's just the only one I've heard, and that's because of the song Lola, which everybody knows, so. Great album, can't wait to spin it. We got Leonard Skinner's Nothing Fancy. By name, I don't recognize any track on here. However, that does not mean that I do not know them, but once I spin it, I will be able to tell you. This is one of my, if not my favorite Lynyrd Skynyrd studio album, Street Survivors. I would love to one day have the alternate cover with the flames in it, but most of us, if not all of us, know the story behind it. The Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crashed, the one member died. Then they decided, okay, it's kind of distasteful to have the flames on the album cover now, so they just kind of did it like this. So, yeah. Supposedly down south, you're able to find more copies of the flame cover than this cover. I've been told, don't know how true it is, haven't gone record shopping in the south. However, this has songs like What's Your Name and The Smell and I Know a Little, which, I mean, you can't go wrong. This one was one of the coolest records that my uncle had in his collection. I've been trying to grab some Rolling Stones, and because I don't have much of their stuff, and I've been trying to grow that collection. And a couple of them were in a box that my uncle said, "Here, no one's touched this. This is yours." And one of these 3 Rolling Stones albums were in there, and in a box that my cousin had already gone through, and was saying, "Oh, you could go through it, see if you want something." He had trouble parting with 2 Rolling Stones albums out of the, and then the one was, as I said, in the other box. He hasn't even seen it, but he said, "Yeah, you could have one. I do enjoy the Rolling Stones, but you listen to records more, you'll appreciate it more." And obviously, I was appreciative, but I kind of felt a little bad because I knew he didn't want to, but he was insisting that I would take one, even though I would have been okay with not. So the first 2 I'm showing are the ones that he was nice enough to let me take, because I took the second one you're going to see, and then he pulled out the other one at the end and was like, "Take this one too." So this is the Rolling Stones Volume 2. The thing that caught my attention right away, Decca. So I knew that this was a European pressing of sorts. Didn't know what it was until I went to the back, looked at the label, and also saw on the back of here it says Made in Germany. So this is a German press of the Rolling Stones Volume 2. I don't know any song off this rather than the song Under the Boardwalk, if it's the cover of like the doo-wop R&B like song that I was thinking of, and the cover of Susie Q by CCR, unless CCR didn't do it first and the Rolling Stones did, but I know that song to be a CCR tune. I'm not sure how the history went with that, and I don't know much about early Stones or about the Stones period. However, this is cool to have this. If any of my facts or information are inaccurate, please feel free to correct me down below. I would love to hear the real story. And then this is the one I grabbed that my cousin was like, "Yeah, let's see what you want." So I took Let It Bleed. I was between the zipper cover of Sticky Fingers and this one. My cousin said you could have one of them. I have Sticky Fingers on cassette, so I took a Let It Bleed. So now I can hear this album in its entirety, because I know this song, Give Me Shelter, You Can't Always Get What You Want, and I'm pretty sure I know Midnight Rambler too, but I've never heard this album in its entirety, so I can't wait to give this a spin. And then this is one that my cousin didn't even know existed, and I don't know if he still does, but Rolling Stones Emotional Rescue. This is an 80s album, I believe. Yes, 1980 on a dot. By name, I don't recognize any of the songs. However, many Stones hits I know as soon as I hear them, so we'll give that a shot. Well, I'm keeping it, but even if I don't like it, I'm keeping it because it's my uncle's. Then this was really cool to find, Scandal's EP Scandal. This has the hit Goodbye to You on it. And that's the only hit I believe that was on this, but that was pretty cool to find. I got Steppenwolf's Gold, their greatest hits. Exactly what you'd expect. Things like Magic Carpet Ride, Born to Be Wild, all that jazz. I got Stevie Nicks, The Wild Heart. I don't know any songs by name. I sampled a few songs on iTunes to see what the hits were because I wasn't sure. Stevie Nicks' solo discography I really don't know well. I know her album Belladonna, I believe is the name of the album, with Edge of 17 on it. I own that. Enjoy it, but really rather than Edge of 17, I don't know any of her hits solo stuff. So, but I think I recognize 1 or 2 of them on this. But once I spin it, I'll be able to tell you officially. These next 2 excited me because this is not one of my bands I generally go to or know much of either. However, I know that they are usually 20, 30, sometimes $40 for them. So these two by this band excited me. Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense. This is the one of the two I've actually heard. I actually was given this on CD by a friend a couple years ago. Gave it a listen, loved it. Of course, it has the great song Psycho Killer. Good stuff. And we all know Burning Down the House. So, good stuff. And then this is the album Little Creatures, I believe, right? Little Creatures, yes. And I recognize the title of the song, but as I said, I haven't heard this album, so I don't know. So I was really excited to see those, and I can't wait to actually spin them. This is one of my favorite albums by this band. This would be U2's The Unforgettable Fire. Has a hits Pride in the Name of Love, The Unforgettable Fire, 4th of July, and I believe MLK was a hit too. Yeah, this is one of my two favorite U2 albums, so 2 or 3. This was cool to see. This is also a German pressing, The Best of UFO. It's a prog rock band. That's about all I know about it. I was sampling it as like these songs as soon as I pulled it out. I was like, I've heard of this group, never gave it a listen. Well, here it is. Love it. Loved what I heard, at least sample-wise, so I can't wait to spin that. And then, this one has been on my want list, but I never pulled the trigger on this because usually I don't find it for a good condition, or it's not one I am actively constantly looking for. Close to the Edge by Yes. So, obviously we all know that. That's a fantastic album. I have every single Yes studio album from their first album through Big Generator on CD, so I of course know that album, but I don't know it well. And then these are the albums that I need to listen to still and clean. So this is The Cars' Heartbeat City. I don't know which way it's supposed to go, but Heartbeat City by The Cars. What do we got next? We got Christine McVie. I think this is her self-titled. I remember my grandfather actually talking about this album. I'm pretty sure it was this album. I know he was talking about a Buckingham Nicks album, and I believe this album as well. Neither of them I could find in his collection. I have everything that he had record-wise. Maybe my uncle borrowed it because I'm pretty sure something's telling me this was my grandfather's copy. I have a gut feeling that this was, but either way, I'm glad to be able to check out the album anyway. Either way. This is The Deepest Purple, The Very Best of Deep Purple. Their first greatest hits album, if I'm not mistaken. Not their first comp album, because I know that they had like Deep Purple or Deeper Purple or Deep Passages or something like that it was called. But all great stuff. I've never been disappointed by Deep Purple. This is The Doors. I had a copy of I have a copy of this, but my friend gave me, but it does not have the sleeve. Now I have one with the sleeve. I think about my uncle got this secondhand because his initials are not FS, it's DK. But, but what's nice about this is, it has no, it doesn't have that gold reward circle or anything. And it also has the gold label. So I'm almost positive that this is a first pressing of this album. And I think that this might be a first mono pressing. I haven't done my research, but everything is leading me in the direction that it is. So I hope that I'm correct with that. Then we got the Edgar Winter Group, self-titled, I believe. No, they only come out at night. I was wrong, not self-titled. This is a gatefold as well. Has the band members. That's cool. Elton John's Too Low for Zero. My dad owned this album on cassette, but I've never heard it in its entirety, so I'm looking forward to doing that. This has a hit, I'm Still Standing. I think Cold as Christmas was a popular tune, and the song Too Low for Zero as well. Oh, the song, I guess that's why they call it the blues. That was a big hit too. I'm Still Standing Now, and I guess that's what they call the blues. 2 big hits. The other ones I think were popular because I recognize them, but I'm not sure. Oh, this is a club pressing. You could tell there's a club pressing if it has like that R on there, and it also says RCA Music Service under license. So without even going to Discogs, I know that's a club pressing of that album, so that's cool. This is Hoy Hoy by Little Feat. This is a double LP. Don't know a single thing about it, but what I've heard of Little Feat, I've enjoyed. I own Sailing Shoes on record, so Little feet. I love the album cover. I mean, that's a beautiful album cover. We got the Moody Blues. Go Now, the Moody Blues #1. So, that. Now, this says, this is something I'm curious of, because this says it's a stereo pressing up top here. However, if you look at the bottom of this, pasted over it is a mono label. And obviously these were back in the days before machines were doing it, all man-made, all pasted and all that. So let's see, is this a stereo? This is a stereo pressing, okay. I wasn't sure which one it was because I had both labels were on here. So I wonder if they just had a generic thing that said both stereo and mono on it, and depending on what it was, they pasted the label a certain way. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. We got Pete Townshend, White City, a novel. Supposedly this is a concept album, based on what my uncle recalls. He said it's a fantastic album. I don't know anything by name off this album. There's another album by him with like a halo around his head, something like that, that I recognize when I saw it, but I don't own that album. But I know songs from that album. Then we have the album Till Tuesday, Voices Carry. Supposedly Voices Carry was the hit off this album, but I don't know anything from it. I like that MTV sticker, you know, back when MTV actually did music. And what's actually cool about this is this is promoting the 2nd annual MTV Music Video Awards. Like, so this album came out in 1985. I can't remember what year MTV came out with, so, but that's pretty fantastic. And then this one is the history of British rock. So I thought that was cool. I know a couple songs off it. Can't wait to spin it. Then we have the triple LP set of Yes songs. Boy, is this thing freaking heavy. I've never seen one in person, so I was like, wow, this is cool. Some water damage on the bottom of this one. I had to carefully pry it open. Very carefully. The beautiful artwork by the one and only Roger Dean. And then if I open it this way, we have another photo. So yeah. So those are the records I got from my uncle. And hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. Keep on spinning that wax. And I'll see you in the next video. It sure seems like 2020 is treating you well record-wise so far. Keep on spinning.